So week 2 is in the books, and I'll tell you, life as a New York Giants fan gets worse and worse as the days goes on, it feels like. I mean, not only do they fall to 0-2, not only do they lose a very winnable game in my mind, not only are they the worst team in football the past 3 years, now they lose their best player. I mean, just flat out their best player in Saquon Barkley, who many believe tore his ACL today. I mean, we're not officially sure. I think the MRIs might come out tomorrow, but by all accounts and reports, it seems like it's going to happen. I feel like 95% of the time when they fear an ACL injury, ends up being an ACL injury. Now we pray for him and hope that it's okay. But if he's out for the year, the Giants lose their best playmaker, so that would be terrible and puts them in an even worse spot than they're already in. So for this game, the Giants lose 17-13. As I said, a very winnable game in my mind. I expect them to win this game, so of course to not have that happen, very disappointing. I told you guys in the pregame that if the Giants were serious about making a playoff push this year, this was a game they had to win. They don't win it. I mean, this is looking like it's going to be another rough season, unfortunately. So some of us hoped that the rebuild can maybe go a little bit faster than expected, and some of these young guys can get better. But now, based on the schedule, it's looking like it can possibly be an 0-5 start with the Niners coming up, who are very banged up. I get that, but still, it's the Niners. The Rams, I believe, then the Cowboys. So I don't want to get ahead of myself, but the schedule is very tough. But we'll get into the game, and we'll start with the offensive side of the ball, as we usually do. All right, so as we touched on before, the Saquon Barkley injury, they fear he tore his ACL. We got into that. Sterling Shepard had a toe injury. Now, he was hobbled at one point. I think he tried to play, then came out. I mean, I don't know what toe injury there would be. Maybe turf toe, which I think might keep you out for a week or two. But hopefully it's not too serious for his case, because Shepard's been reliable for this team, honestly. He hasn't put up great numbers, as I said in the last video, but he's not the greatest volume-wise, but when he's targeted, he usually comes down with the pass. I mean, I'm hoping he's here because he definitely helps them move the ball more than other people on this team. So Daniel Jones was 25 of 40 today, 241 yards, no touchdowns, 1 interception, and 1 fumble loss. So we'll go over him real quick. So I don't want to say Jones took a step back based on his Monday night performance, but we kind of expected a bit more. I mean, the Bears, they still have a good defense. It's still probably a top 5 defense in the league, probably top 10 at minimum. But, the turnovers keep happening. And, there has to be that discussion of, can he ever fix it? And, I don't know. I really can't sit here and tell you if it'll ever change. Now, his college coach told us that he couldn't fix the fumbling issues. You can tell in the offseason that Daniel Jones put a lot of work in. The pocket presence is much better. I think his footwork is even better from last year, and he's putting 2 hands on the ball in situations. But when Khalil Mack was, unblocked today, Jones was just double clutching with the ball out in one hand today. He did it 3 times, and then Mack comes in and swipes the ball, and then he gets a fumble. So there was that, but I feel like outside of that, the fumbling hasn't been that bad yet this year. There was that one in against Pittsburgh where it probably should have been a fumble that Nick Gates jumped on that should have been a touchdown. But outside of that, I feel like it's only been 2 fumbles so far. So that's not the end of the world. I'm not going to worry about it too much. But now we go into interceptions. Now his interceptions today, there was basically 2. One of them was called back because it was pass interference, I believe, on Eddie Jackson. I think he pulled the guy down and caught the ball. So that doesn't count, obviously. It looked like a pick 6 at first. Thank God it wasn't. But the other one was Evan Engram, who was basically just coming out of a break. He slipped. I mean, a lot of people slip at Soldier Field. I get it. And they get an interception off of that. So I can't really fully blame Jones for that one, but I can blame him for the fumble. You can't have that happen. I think we were all in agreement that the fumble was on Jones. It might have been on Andrew Thomas as well. I have to go back and watch that one, but I think Andrew Thomas might have picked up the wrong guy there. So, outside, it wasn't the worst game, though. I think Jones was accurate today. He made a lot of good short passes. He had some nice deep passes. I mean, he had a deep crosser to it might have been Slayton or Shepard at one point, before the half. So he had some nice passes. It was not the worst game, but definitely did not go above and beyond to win the Giants this game. But I don't really expect that from him. So I can't say I'm disappointed by it, but the turnovers have to stop at some point is what I'm getting at. So hopefully he fixes that, but it wasn't the worst game. Evan Engram definitely bounced back today. He was not that bad. 6 catches, 65 yards, had some nice catches on the final drive as well. And Golden Tate, he was pretty important today. 5 catches, 47 yards. He was moving the sticks. That's kind of what I expected heading into the season. I expected Evan Engram and Golden Tate to be the most targeted guys on this team, especially with Barkley out now. I think these guys will see the most targets. Daniel Jones loves that. intermediate route over the field, middle of the field, and that's basically what these two guys do, is run over the middle of the field. So I think they'll be the most targeted guys, and they got the most catches today, so we'll see if that keeps up. Now, their offensive line, pass blocking wasn't terrible. As I said, Andrew Thomas had a couple mess ups in there, but the run blocking still wasn't that great. I think Dion Lewis was 10 for 20 today. Let me pull it up real quick. I'm pretty sure he was 10 for 20. And it's a shame that the Saquon injury just came at such a bad time, because it seemed like he was finally getting things going. Like, Saquon broke off a big run. Saquon was 4 for 28 today. That's great. If he played the whole game, maybe he would have had a monster game today. We'll never know. But Dion Lewis was 10 for 20. Sterling Shepard was 1 for 6 in there on one of those end the rounds. Daniel Jones was 3 for 21 on the ground. So their run blocking it doesn't look like it's there yet. I think Will Hernandez might have improved a bit this week. Kevin Zeitler, no complaints there. I'm not exactly sure how Nick Gates did, but it wasn't anything obvious. So I think Nick Gates might have had one bad play in there, but it wasn't anything obvious or glaring, so I can't really point him out there. But so I mean, the offense wasn't too bad today, I guess. I mean, 13 points, yeah, not too good, but there was a play, this one for sure. Darius Slayton, he dropped a slant that would have been a 1st and goal, and someone brought it up on Twitter, like, why are you picking on Slayton? I'm like, man, he's got to catch it. Like, he has to catch that ball. I mean, this was a 3rd down play, I believe. They settled for a field goal, but they were down, I think, 17-3 at that point. Now, if Slayton catches that pass, gets a 1st down, or even runs it in for a touchdown, the Giants had a chance to get a touchdown out of that and make it 17-10. So, I don't want to get on Slayton for dropping a pass, because he's been, terrific for the Giants as a 5th-round player. But, you have to be held accountable. I don't care who you are. You have to be held accountable. So, you have to catch those. The Giants offense, they were 3 for 13 on 3rd downs. That definitely has to get better. The Bears were much better in that category. I wrote it down on the Giants defensive portion, how good they were. Jason Garrett, I mean, I'll go over him real quick. I mean, he wasn't too bad today. I don't feel like I don't really have anything to complain about. As I said, a lot of quick passes in this game, which is expected. The run game couldn't really get going, so I really can't call out Jason Garrett for having a bad game. Now, the 4th and goal play, which I wrote down here, very risky and ballsy call for sure. I mean, they were 4th and goal on like the 2-yard line. Jones on the play before that threw the ball away, which I was very happy to see. It definitely shows maturity, because, same situation happened last week and he threw the bad interception. This time throws the ball away and basically plays to, lives to play another down. And then they call basically just a dive up the middle for Dion Lewis. He gets in. The Giants make it a 7-point game at that point, but, they couldn't come all the way back, unfortunately. Actually, no, it might have been a 4-point game at that point. I'm trying to think what the score was, but it was close at that point in the 4th quarter. Andrew Thomas, couple rough moments. I mentioned that before. He might have been responsible for that sack on Daniel Jones. I have to go back and look. As I said, I don't remember what happened live, but he definitely, I feel like, had a better outing in his first game than this one. So for the last play, people are speculating, like, was there a penalty that should have been called on the Bears? I kind of agree with that. I think Anthony Rivardo of Fireside Giants, who I used to work with, tweeted this out. He said that, basically the safety, Eddie Jackson, I believe it was, he hit Golden Tate before the ball got there. Now, that should have been offsetting penalties. Like, we're aware that Golden Tate might have pushed off, and I think the guy on the Bears flopped, but Golden Tate definitely pushed off once he got in the end zone. But when Golden Tate was ready to make the catch, like, he got hit from behind before the ball even got there. So in my opinion, should have been offsetting penalties, and even Anthony said it, the Giants should have got another chance. So, I mean, it's kind of like, I don't know why the refs only called that one-sided. I feel like the Giants should have gotten one more chance at it. Would they have scored on it? Probably not, but at least have the chance, So I was a little disappointed with that one, but it is what it is. But now we'll get into the defensive side of the ball. So I went back and watched because I wanted to get it right, but it was Robert Quinn who basically beat Andrew Thomas around the edge. I think he caught Thomas leaning a bit, went outside, and Jones was sitting there not even double clutching, triple clutching, and eventually Quinn got there and knocked the ball out from behind. So I blame both parties there. The left tackle has to do better, and the quarterback has to do a better job of holding onto the ball. So I definitely give both of them some blame on that play. So for the Giants defense, there were interceptions today. James Bradberry and Julian Love. James Bradberry's was 100 times more difficult. I still don't know how he came down with that ball. It was awesome. Like, he didn't even look at the ball. I mean, if you guys watched the game, you know what I'm talking about. But Robinson was basically over him. Robinson caught it and just put his hands where the ball was and just took it back down. It was an awesome play. And even Julian Love, his interception was caused by James Bradberry. It was Bradberry who basically got in there, put his arm in front of the ball, popped up in the air. And Julian Love was a lucky recipient of an interception. The sacks today, Blake Martinez. Now, we kind of speculated, I think even back on the other channel I was on, that Blake Martinez might have a better season sack-wise because the 1 year he was with Patrick Graham, he had like 5 sacks, which for him was like a career high by a lot. Like it was the one outlier season where he had a lot of sacks as compared to previous years. So, I mean, Blake Martinez might be a guy that finishes with like 4 to 6 sacks this year. So don't be like too surprised by it if it happens. BJ Hill, he got in there, had a sack, he beat his guy, just completely bull rushed him. That was good to see. You know, as I said, I've always said this. I want him to play more, but the Giants just don't have the room for it right now. So I mean, if BJ Hill can get in there more, that'd be nice. But they just don't have the room for it. Lorenzo Carter got one. He continues to look good. Hopefully, he builds off of that. Kyler Fackrell got one. I think very early on in this game, so I was happy to see that. He was one of my favorite offseason acquisitions free agency wise because of the price, and I thought he was an underrated player, so I like that they brought him in, so I'm happy he got one. Now, the run defense definitely has to be talked about. It does not look as good as it did last year, so really all we talked about in the offseason run game wise was that, the run defense was so much better once Leonard Williams was acquired, and that's true. I mean, the Giants, yards per carry wise on defense was like basically 1 yard less than it was before they got Leonard Williams. So that's why a lot of people were supporting the Leonard Williams trade because they were like, oh, the run defense got so much better. But now through the first 2 games, I mean, we've seen it. The Steelers had their backup running back Benny Snell go for 16 and 100 or 100 and something, whatever it was, 100 and change. And then David Montgomery today, who honestly has had a pretty underwhelming NFL career thus far. He went 16 carries for 82 yards, 5.1 per carry. Cordero Patterson was 7 for 25. Tariq Cohen 5 for 12. So, there was a point in the game where Montgomery was killing them in the fourth quarter. I don't know if the defense was tired or whatever it was, but he was really killing them at one point. So that was definitely terrible to see. And the run defense has to be better. I mean, we are built to be a good run defense. We drafted Dexter Lawrence 17th overall. We have Dalvin Tomlinson, who's been great since he's being a Giant 3 years ago. Leonard Williams. I mean, we have all these guys, even Blake Martinez, to be a good run defense. The Giants have to make it happen now. So hopefully that gets better. So David Montgomery's first touchdown, this will be interesting to look at in the film. It was one of those plays where I think Blake Martinez was kind of on an island. He basically had to make the choice of, do I go after the quarterback or do I sit back and guard the running back? And basically Blake Martinez eventually had to go for Trubisky. He lofted a pass to Montgomery. Now he was on the right sideline, cut back to the left. I don't know which side would be left for you guys, but cut back to the left and basically beat Nate Ebner, who looked clueless on that play. I mean, I don't know why Nate Ebner was playing actual defense. I feel like he should probably be relegated to special teams. But even James Bradberry was there and Gibral Peppers. Now, Gibral Peppers, I didn't list him down, but he has been just underwhelming. I know it's only 2 games, and I said that last week. It's only 1 game, but Gibral Peppers has to be more of a difference maker for this team. We can't have him be invisible out there. I mean, this guy was a part of a big trade. The Giants got him when he was 23, 24 years old. Former first-round pick, a lot of potential, but we have not seen it so far. Gibral Peppers has to be better and more consistent. I just haven't seen it yet. He's been great on punt returns. I'll give him that, but so far, he hasn't been that great as a safety. So, I mean, he had plays last year where he showed flashes. He had that play where he run down, I think, Dalvin Cook and made a great hustle play. The pick 6 on Haskins. He has shown some flashes of being great. He just has to do it consistently. So I hope Gibral Peppers one day can do that. I thought James Bradberry was really good in this game. Really good. He might have had a couple of mess ups, but he made a difference today. Created 2 turnovers, as I said, his own interception. He created Julian Love's interception. He had a couple other pass breakups. I think he's been great so far. I had a bold prediction that he will be a Pro Bowler this year for the first time in his career. I think if he plays at this level weekly, he'll be there. So I really hope that he continues to build off that. And so far, it looks like an awesome free agent signing. So shout out to Mr. Dave Gettleman for that one. So the Bears, they were, the Ballantyne touchdown before half. My goodness. All right. So Corey Ballantyne was in the back corner of the end zone with, I think the guy's name was Darnay Mooney, who is a decent prospect. He was a 5th-round pick, very fast, small school. Has potential, I get that. But Ballantyne, you cannot get out-jumped by that guy. I mean, I don't even think he's that tall. These are both later-round picks guys, a 5th-round pick against a 6th-round pick. It's not like he was going against Allen Robinson here or even Anthony Miller, even Jimmy Graham. This is against Mooney. This is you cannot let that happen. You can't get mossed by a guy who was a 5th or 6th-round pick. So that was disappointing to see. And Corey Ballantyne, I don't know how much longer this experiment will go on for. Even Isaac Yiadom continues to just, underwhelm. It's just they traded a 7th round pick for him, so it's not the worst thing in the world. But like these two guys are not getting it done right now, and hopefully things get better. Yadam is new to the system. I think he could get better, but Ballantyne, as I say every week, I'm just not really in on Ballantyne. I just don't see it happening. And then we see, Ross Cockrell still out there. Dre Kirkpatrick, who I wanted, is playing, starting for the Cardinals right now and playing pretty well. So like it's just disappointing to see that the Giants don't get a deal done with Cockrell, and now he's a free agent. So I don't know why they couldn't come to an agreement there, but the Giants can definitely use a Ross Cockrell right now. I'll tell you that. So the Bears, as compared to the Giants, I think were 3 for 13 on third downs on offense. On defense, the Bears, they were 9 of 16 on third down conversions. I mean, Mitch Trubisky, we bashed him a lot, honestly, coming into this week. I saw it on Twitter. I saw other Giants writers and stuff, like just kind of taking shots at Trubisky, and rightfully so. But Trubisky at some points in this game, especially like the first, second quarter, I would say early on in this game, he was making some good throws. Like he had a throw in there, and like triple coverage basically, not triple coverage, but just fitting in between 3 defenders. It looked awesome. So like there were some throws where he looked really good, but like at the same time, this is Mitch Trubisky, so he should not be picking you apart and going 9 for 16 on third downs. It's just unacceptable in my mind. There was that crazy catch. So Bobby Massey, I think a right tackle for the Bears. This would only happen to the Giants, I swear. Like, basically, a Giants player breaks up the pass, and the Bears' right tackle catches the ball for a first down. I didn't even think that was legal. Apparently it is. I don't know how it happens, but I think they missed the field goal that drive anyway. Then the Giants went down and tried to win the game. But just, if the Giants lost off that, that would have been the most Giants thing ever. So I just had to put that in there. I think, defensively, holding a team to 17 points in today's NFL, I think is a pretty good outing. It's not the best. They could have done better for sure. There were moments like the Ballantyne moment where it was terrible, but I think for the most part, the Giants' defense wasn't that bad today. I know it's the Bears. I know they don't have the most firepower, but Montgomery had a good game. I get that, but I'm trying to look at like the receivers. Like Allen Robinson was 3 for 33 today. I mean, that's awesome. James Bradberry, hats off to you. Anthony Miller didn't have a catch, apparently. I think he dropped a touchdown. I think it should have been a touchdown. But to hold those guys to 3 catches and 33 yards combined, that is terrific. Like, if you told me coming into this game, like, hey, Mike, Anthony Miller and Allen Robinson are going to combine for 3 catches and 33 yards, I would be even more confident about the Giants winning this game. But once again, it comes down to their run defense not doing enough. And on the ground, Montgomery had 82 yards. So, offensively, you look at the Bears stats, they didn't really do too much. So, like, it's just even more of a shame that they lost this game. I cannot blame the defense for this loss, is what I'm trying to say. I think 17 points in today's NFL with all the rules that favor the offense, 17 is a terrific outing in my opinion. I don't care who it's against. Now, got into this before. Yadam and Ballantyne, they're not doing well enough. I got into it. I wish Ross Cockrell was here, but it doesn't look like it's happening. So I guess that's not going to happen. But I guess we'll dive into. I wanted to put this in there. So my thoughts on the coaches. Now, I credited the coaches on Twitter after this game. I said for what they had and the injuries they dealt with today, especially offensively, I thought the coaches did pretty well. Now, your whole game plan is built around a guy like Saquon Barkley. When he's out of the game in the middle of the first quarter, it's like, what do we do now? You throw your hands up, because it's not like we're throwing a guy in there that's like 80% of Saquon Barkley. Dion Lewis is not even the same type of running back that Saquon Barkley is. Wayne Gallman was inactive today, so you can't even put him in there. So, it's just difficult. But I think Jason Garrett, for what he was dealing with today, I think did a pretty good job. So I have to give him credit. And we just talked about the defense holding a team to 17 points and taking away their best 2 receivers. I think the defensive coordinator, Patrick Graham, deserves a lot of credit as well. So I give both of those guys some credit there. Joe Judge even just staying cool and collective. I mean, I think he did a good job, honestly. So I really can't get mad at the coaches. I think this loss was more of a talent issue, unfortunately. We know who that goes back to. I'm not going to dive into Gettleman stuff now, but a lot of people today on Twitter just seemed like they had enough with Gettleman. I don't know if this was the game that flipped the switch, but I mean, look, we have plenty of other videos in the future to get into that. Not gonna get into it right now, but I think today's loss was more of a talent issue. It was more of a we lost 2 really important offensive players type of issue. So I'm not gonna get into that right now. I talked about the Daniel Jones ball security. I don't know if it's gonna get fixed. I really don't. I mean, if I had to guess, I would say probably not. I mean, I'm just gonna be honest. When I watched him in college, I saw too much of that, which is why I wasn't happy when the pick was made, So like I think it could be fixable. I think not making dumb decisions with the ball is fixable, but I don't know if fumbling is fixable. You know what I mean? Like you're kind of stuck in your ways at that point. I think fumbling as a running back is definitely different than fumbling as a quarterback. The main thing you want to do as a quarterback is to get the ball to an open receiver. Like you're not going to worry. You're not like a running back worrying about tucking the ball in differently. It's like it's different as a quarterback. So I don't know if it's fixable. The last thing I wanted to touch on is who do we want at running back? Now I saw someone talk about Devonta Freeman. That's an absolutely not for me. I think Devonta Freeman hasn't been himself in like 2 or 3 years. I think Freeman in 2016 and 2017 was amazing, but since then, I don't know if it's injuries or whatever it is, he has not looked the same. I don't want Devonta Freeman anywhere near the Giants, so that's a big no for me. I'm looking at the other free agents left here. Not many. Darius Geis, that's not going to happen. I mean, I like Darius Geis from a talent standpoint. Lamar Miller, I mean, tore his ACL last year, got cut by the Patriots. I mean, it's not looking good for him. I don't even think Lamar Miller would be the answer. There's really not many running backs. That's kind of weird. Marshawn Lynch, I mean, he's like 33, 34 now. I mean, I love Marshawn Lynch. I would not say no to him, but, it's probably not going to happen. Let's be real. Isaiah Crowell, he was a former Jet, Brown. I mean, he had a nice career at one point with the Browns, but I think even he tore his Achilles maybe last year or 2 years ago. I don't think that one's worth it. So, I just don't even know which running backs are left at this point. So, like, there's probably no one even worth taking. Some people speculated getting Javon Leake back, the guy that was on the roster in the preseason or in training camp. I wouldn't mind that. I don't think Javon Leake's ever going to be an every down back, but I do want to see Wayne Gallman get a legitimate chance here. Like Wayne Gallman has only had one full game of being the starter, which was that game against Washington last year. He was going to be the starter in the Vikings game the next week, but he got hurt early on. So I kind of want to see Wayne Gallman get a chance, like a real chance to be the guy. Dion Lewis is going to be in more than he was if Saquon Barkley was going to be here. I expect more of like a 60-40 split favoring Wayne Gallman. I think Gallman will play more, but I just want to see the Giants give him a chance. Now, if Gallman proves within 3-4 games that he's not the guy and the running game is an absolute disaster and he's not, finding the open hole, then maybe they go out in free agency and get somebody or even trade for somebody. But right now, it's just not the thing. Now, this actually just came to my mind. Before the year, I don't know if this was on Fireside or this channel, but I made a video about Royce Freeman, a guy who plays for the Denver Broncos, who I've always been a fan of. Like, I took him in the third round of fantasy football drafts 2 years ago, which I'm an idiot for. But Royce Freeman, talent-wise, I like him a lot. Now, they lost Phillip Lindsay for a few weeks, which definitely puts a nail in that. That's probably not going to happen. But if they get towards the trade deadline and Lindsay's back and playing well and Melvin Gordon's still there and Royce Freeman is just riding the bench for the Broncos, I would, once again, send another 6th or 7th round pick over to the Broncos. I mean, we send so many late round picks there anyway, and pick up Royce Freeman. I mean, it can't hurt, you know what I mean? So I like him talent-wise. He was great in college at Oregon. I mean, I forget his total yards, but he set a bunch of records there. I think might have had the most touchdowns ever for a running back. So he was amazing. I would love to bring him in here and give him a chance to actually, get 10 to 15 carries a week, but I guess we'll see what happens. It probably won't happen, but I'm just saying the Giants should probably explore something like that. But yeah, that'll do it for this video. I think next week we are home against the Niners at 1 o'clock. The Niners they're losing everybody. I think Garoppolo got hurt today. I don't think it's that serious. Nick Bosa tore his ACL, which is terrible. I think Eric Armstead might have got hurt. Richard Sherman's still on the IR for another couple weeks. I mean, that team is just depleted right now. So we're getting the Niners at the right time. I can say that for sure. I'll have a preview video on like Friday probably. But do I expect them to win? No, but I think it could be close. I mean, they beat the crap out of the Jets today, but the Jets, I think, by far are the worst team in the league right now. So hopefully the Giants keep it closer, but it's definitely not going to be as bad as it would be if all their weapons were healthy. Now, George Kittle missed this game today. They are confident he'll be back next week, I believe. I'm trying to think I don't know if Deebo Samuel can even come back. I think Samuel might be on the IR, so I think he might be out one more week, but I guess we'll see what happens. I'm kind of getting ahead of myself here, but yeah, tough loss today. Sucks that Saquon got hurt. Just, it sucks because no one works harder than that guy. I just feel bad for people like that. Like a guy like him that, you can tell based on looking at the guy, like nobody's in the gym more and works on their game more Then a guy like Saquon, then he goes out and just sustains, this unfortunate injury. So it just sucks. And hopefully a guy like Sterling Shepard, who's also a great guy, we don't want to see him out as well. So hopefully these guys find a way to come back even stronger and better. I don't think Sterling Shepard will be out that long, if at all. But hopefully the Giants can find a way to get healthy. And I'm looking forward to Wayne Gallman and seeing if he can take advantage of this opportunity. And even Dion Lewis. So we'll see if the running game can survive. It won't be as good, but can they keep it going and even maybe look a little better? We'll have to see. But we get the Niners next week, as I said. Leave in the comments how you feel about this game. As I said, I don't want to start 0-5, but it might be that based on the schedule. But hopefully they can steal one next week. We'll have to see. But thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you guys next time.